Romany Pirates is the channel of Emma and Ree, a married couple who have already spent years traveling full-time across the UK and Europe in their self-converted van with their dog, Daisy. Their van was not just transport, it was their home, their bedroom, their safe space, and the one place they expected to feel protected after a long day on the road. But on this night, after parking somewhere unfamiliar and settling in early, that feeling of safety disappeared in a matter of seconds.
You join us on the way to the boat. We've just been up, picked some more supplies up, so that's been another 40 quid. So we've decided that we're going to sack it all off, we're going to take off for the night, and we're just going to go and get away into nature. Reese needs to go wild swimming, despite the fact that it's absolutely siling it down out here. He wants to go in more water, so we're going to take off and just let's see where we end up. Let's just go for an adventure.
After finding what seemed like a good spot, they settled in for the night and eventually fell asleep. Everything about the place had seemed calm enough. No warning signs, no reason to think anyone would bother them. But that is what made what happened next so frightening. They were asleep, completely vulnerable, with no idea that someone outside was about to turn their quiet night into panic. Without warning, a loud bang hit the side of the van hard enough to jolt them awake. In that half-awake confusion, they had no way of knowing what had just happened. It could have been someone trying to break in. It could have been damaged. It could have been the start of something worse. They grabbed the camera almost immediately, knowing that if anything else happened, they needed to capture it.
I like summer feels, really. I don't like the feeling of it.
It'll be alright, it'll drive off.
I can hear people coming around.
Then they heard laughing outside, followed by the sound of a car speeding away into the dark, and that detail made it even more unsettling. Whoever did it had not just accidentally knocked the van. They had come close enough to target it while Emma and Ree were sleeping inside. Daisy was shaking uncontrollably, picking up on the panic before anyone had fully processed what had happened.
There's been some noises outside. We've heard like a lot of people pulling up. And we've already heard quite a bit of like banging around and stuff going on outside. We don't know what it is, we don't know what's happening. I said to Reese to like go and check and see. And he's had a look out, we can see quite a few people, quite a few cars.
I don't want to get outside because I don't know what I'm walking into.
I've had to like feed Daisy like 5 sausages already because as soon as she heard noises she started barking. So I'm just trying to keep her as quiet as I possibly can.
As soon as they had the chance, Emma and Ree drove away. There was no reason to stay and wait to see if the people came back. The spot that had seemed peaceful minutes earlier no longer felt safe. They drove for around 30 minutes before either of them could properly speak, still shaken by the thought that strangers had been right outside their home while they were asleep.
So we've driven about, what, 30 minutes?
Yeah, about 30 minutes down the road.
We've found another park.
Just shaking.
Poor Daisy, she's literally shaking.
So they basically, a load of people ran off laughing, and we heard them drive off. I've had a look at the van. Can't see any damage to the van, but obviously it's dark, it's night time, it's the middle of the night, so...
It was just like a loud bang, so basically like a really loud bang. It was right next to my head, so I didn't know what it was, so I apologise for my language, but it was just this really loud noise, and then like Reese says, we just heard like a lot of laughing. As soon as we knew it had sort of gone quiet, we've just obviously got straight in van, we've driven off, we've made sure nobody's following us.
After finding another place to park, they tried to settle down again, but sleep was almost impossible. Once something like that happens, every small noise outside the van starts to feel threatening. A car passing by, a branch moving, footsteps in the distance. Everything suddenly matters, because the one thing you cannot see is who might still be out there.
That was last night.
Fun night, wasn't it?
That was eventful, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's can I just say, like, on reflection, it was really frightening, wasn't it? But you know, what I don't want, because we weren't sure whether to share this, and I said I don't want to put people off like van life, or if you're new to this, please don't let this frighten you. We've been doing it like 11 years now.
Yeah, and we've never had any
and we've
trouble.
never ever had that, like, you know.
And it can happen. It's like, you know, you can end up in life where sometimes one person does something and you judge everybody else based on that one thing that somebody's done. That is a true reflection
it's the reality,
of how we felt.
Yeah.
You know, at that moment, that is how we felt. We were quite scared. We'd got the camera out in order, because I thought if anything goes wrong, we're filming it, do you know, and we've got some proof if something happens. So that's why I'd got the camera out. And, you know, obviously, like, you know, we share every moment of our lives with you, so, you know, as much as we possibly can. So we were just carrying on. It's like natural to us, you know, to do that. Basically, don't let it put you off, but it was just something that happened, wasn't it? It were, you know, and in reflection, it's just kids, do you know. So we've had a look, we've had a look at the van in the daylight now, in this beautiful park up that we've got, by the way. It's really nice. And what it appears that they've done is they've thrown an egg at the van. So they've obviously, you know, they obviously get people parking up there regularly, otherwise I'm presuming they wouldn't have had eggs on it.
In the morning, they finally got a proper look at the van and realized someone had thrown eggs at it. On paper, that might sound harmless. No windows smashed, no door forced open, no real damage. But that was not the part that stayed with them. What shook them was the feeling of lying there unaware while someone was close enough to hit the van, laugh, and drive off into the night. And that is what makes this kind of moment so disturbing for anyone living on the road. Your van may feel like a home, but the walls are thin, the locks are limited, and when something happens at night, you wake up already behind. Emma and Ree were lucky it did not go further, but after that, their home on wheels had never felt so small. And this was not the only time a quiet night turned into something much more unsettling. Mary is the creator behind Maximalist Minibus, a YouTube channel where she documents her outdoor life, campground routines, and life around her bus. Most of her videos have a calm, honest feeling to them. But on September 10th, 2025, that calm was broken by something she never expected to catch on camera. After putting it off for over a year, Mary finally set up a solar-powered trail camera near her tent. She expected to capture raccoons, deer, or maybe small animals moving through the campsite at night. Instead, she ended up recording a stranger entering her space while she was not there.
I've had this camera for at least a year, maybe more, probably, maybe even 2 years. It's a trail cam with a little solar panel on the top, and, you know, it has its own power and everything. And I searched for it because I wanted one that had its own power so I could put it anywhere. Didn't have to worry about whether I have power there. And it has the solar panel, and then it also has inside this little door, it has battery backup. You're supposed to put batteries in it, which I haven't done yet. Surprise, surprise. But anyway, the batteries are like C batteries, or, oh no, actually, you know what? It's 4 AA's. So I got to get AA batteries, but it works without it. So I should still be able to set it up. But the reason I haven't set it up is because it takes an SD card, and I have SD cards, but they're, you know, I don't have any this small. It only takes it can only be a maximum 32 megabyte SD card. So I've had it on my list on and off forever to buy a card for this thing. And finally, I was at Walmart and I remembered. So I got an SD card. So now tonight I can set this up. I'm going to put the camera on this little footstool that I always put in front of my tent when I close it up for the night. It's basically just shooting right next to the bus. Probably not the most exciting place to put the camera. Probably should put it over by the creek. But for the first night, I don't even know if it's set up right. So I'm just going to leave it here.
She placed the camera on a footstool near the tent, pointed toward the bus and camp area. The setup was simple, almost casual. But the next morning, something felt wrong. Her tent had been unzipped from the top down in a way that did not look accidental. At first, she nearly ignored it. Then she remembered the camera. And when she checked the footage, she realized someone had been there in the middle of the night.
In the first part, it shot at like 8:30, and it just got like some campers walking to the restroom, but then nothing until 2:30. And then at 2:30, you should see these headlights. So it looks like the car's coming from around, like maybe either somebody drove in and they're turning around right now, or I don't know. I don't think it's a camper, but so the headlights come this way, and then it's a pickup truck that goes by. I don't recognize it. It could belong to a camper, could belong to somebody in the cabins up the road, but I know most of those cars. It's not a vehicle I recognize. Let's start with that. But right after it goes by, keep your eye on this over here. Okay, there he is. You see him? He's got glasses on that are shining. He's got on a baseball cap. It looks like he might have a goatee. And here he comes. He walks across. See, he's got a trash bag, it looks like. And I thought at first he had a backpack on, but you'll see in a minute it's not a backpack. So he walks by. And then it missed the first part of him, but then he comes back with a flashlight. And he's coming around, like, I have a table over here with a bunch of stuff on it. He's coming around probably checking out what's on that table. I think he's... Okay, now look, here he comes. Now he's shining the flashlight in through the mesh of the tent, trying to see what's inside the tent. And you can see, like, his pants are all kind of frayed and everything. But he leaves again. He walks by, and he's going, like, probably over to the golf cart to see what's in the golf cart, because the golf cart's parked in front of the bus. And then he goes around. I think he must probably go around the bus and come back again, because give it a second. He's going to come back. There he goes, coming back around for another chance. And this time, he's not going to just look inside the tent. This time, yeah. Give him a second. There he goes. He's coming right to the tent. And look at this. He moves the camera. I mean, he moves the camera. I guess he doesn't know it's a camera, but he moves the steps with the camera so that he can unzip the tent and get inside. And then he's inside the tent for all. You can hear him plunking around, moving things, stuff like that, moving stuff around. And then the movement stops, so the camera kind of stops recording.
Around 2:30 a.m., an unfamiliar pickup truck rolled past the campsite. Moments later, a man appeared from the darkness, wearing a baseball cap and glasses, with what looked like a trash bag draped over his shoulders against the rain. What made it so unsettling was how calmly he moved. He did not look rushed. He walked through the campsite, shined a flashlight around her belongings, checked the area near the tent, and then came back for a closer look. At one point, he shined the light directly through the tent mesh, trying to see what was inside. Then he moved the footstool, not realizing the camera was on it, unzipped the tent, and went in. For several minutes, he stayed inside, moving through her things in the dark.
But you can hear him still, but you can't see him. There he goes. Now he comes out. He's got that jug of water, which I think he had going in, but he's got a trash bag, and he's wearing a trash bag. It's not a backpack. But it was pouring rain last night, so I can understand why he'd have something to protect him from the rain. But that's it. That's the whole thing. So I've been looking around trying to figure out what he took, but I can't really find anything. I mean, the most obvious thing would have been this tablet. I mean, I don't leave my laptop in here, so tablet would have been the next best thing. He didn't take it. Then again, it's kind of old school. Maybe he's an electronic snob. I don't know. My printer's here. This is a good printer. He didn't take that. Umbrella lights. Solar umbrella lights. Those would probably be good if you were camping or something. Maybe, I don't know. He didn't take them. Ryobi charger would only be good if you had Ryobi tools. Elvis glasses. Yeah, all this stuff is still here. Oh, my hummingbird feeder is still here. He didn't take that. And this is, remember I told you I had a cute squirrel feeder? This is it. It's not assembled yet. Surprise. But I do have a toolbox in here, and it's got a lot of small tools, you know, things that he could have taken either to use or to sell. Things with some value, and he didn't take those either, so I don't know. It doesn't really look like he took anything. So I don't really even know why he was here.
When he finally left, the strangest part was what he took. Not electronics, not tools, not anything obviously valuable. He seemed to take small basic items, like hand sanitizer, rubbing alcohol, and toilet paper. That detail made the whole thing feel different. It did not look like someone breaking in for money. It looked more like someone surviving outside, taking whatever they thought they needed. But that did not make it any less disturbing. A stranger had still walked through her camp, looked inside her tent, and entered the place where she normally slept. And that is what makes the footage so uncomfortable. Nothing violent happened. Almost nothing was stolen. But the feeling of safety was gone. Out in nature, a campsite can feel private, quiet, and separate from the rest of the world. But this camera showed the opposite. Even in the middle of the woods, someone can still walk out of the dark, enter your space, and disappear before morning. And that takes us to this next encounter, one that shows why isolation can be both beautiful and terrifying. Zhenya Stepanov is a Russian YouTuber known for exploring abandoned buildings, forests, towers, and places most people would probably avoid. A lot of his videos have that reckless, adventurous feeling, climbing structures, walking into forgotten places, and filming whatever happens along the way. But in this video, the risk stopped feeling like a joke. What started as an exploration of an abandoned campground deep in the forest turned into a situation where Zhenya and his friends suddenly had no idea who they were dealing with.
Сегодня идем в лес с Саней, с Славой и со мной, короче. Куда мы идем, короче, объясни.
Короче, достаточно интересное место, в котором достаточно хороший сохран. И, в принципе, что мы там можем увидеть? Мы там можем увидеть такую мини-чернобыльскую зону отчуждения. Она чем-то напоминает чернобыльскую зону отчуждения тем, что там остались детские качели.
Карусель.
Да, карусель и все остальное. То есть вся такая атрибутика. Что мы еще там можем встретить? Мы можем встретить там бассейн, различные корпуса, ну и, в общем, различные здания, хозяйственные и жилые, в принципе, будет идти.
After hiking through the woods, they finally reached the entrance to the abandoned location. The place looked completely deserted, with no signs of people nearby, and no reason to think anyone would still be guarding it. It had the feeling of a site that had been left behind long ago, swallowed by the forest after the Chernobyl disaster, and slowly forgotten.
Покажу карусель. Главное, чтобы на меня сейчас собаки не напали. Одному, потому что ходить такое себе. Вот он. Карусель. Опа. Доброе утро. Такая прикольная карусель. Сейчас как-то не очень это в кадре выглядит, потому что все равно на улице. Погода такая.
As they moved deeper inside, the place only felt more abandoned. Rusted playground equipment, an empty swimming pool, and old structures sat untouched, as if time had stopped there years earlier. It did not feel like somewhere anyone would care about anymore, and that is what made the next moment so strange. While they were exploring, they suddenly heard someone outside.
Но может быть, там просто написано последняя дата 2002. Внимание, время пользования телефоном. Лол, время пользования телефоном было с 4 до 6. Лол. Ой, еще одна комната. Какая-то фигня тут разбросана, колбы. Битые, все. Шкафчики. Прикольно. Когда-то тут кто-то жил. Чё? Она это бабка. Саня, с этим веткой не дай мне в глаз, пожалуйста. Да нет. Неплохо. Побег от первого лица без стабилизации, это жестко.
At first, it was just a man yelling. That alone would have been enough to make most people leave. In a place like that, in the middle of the woods, you do not want to argue with someone who appears out of nowhere. But then the situation became much more serious. This was no longer just someone warning them to get out. Something about his reaction made it clear they needed to run immediately.
Она сказала, ну-ка быстро валим отсюда, а то я сейчас вам... Ох, а вот теперь бежим быстрее. Тихо, Саня.
The boys scattered through the forest as the man appeared to fire right at them. Whether he was a guard, a local, or someone else entirely was never fully clear from the footage. But at that moment, it did not matter. They were in the forest, far from help, being chased by someone who seemed unpredictable and armed. And that is what made the clip so disturbing. This was not a place filled with expensive equipment or anything obviously worth protecting. It was rusted, empty, and falling apart. Even if the man believed they were trespassing, opening fire turned the situation into something far beyond a warning. Zhenya and his friends kept running until they finally put distance between themselves and the campground. When they looked back, they could no longer see him. But by then, the mood of the entire video had changed. They had gone there expecting an abandoned place. Instead, they found someone who may have been willing to seriously hurt them over it. But what happened in this next clip is even harder to explain. Annabelle is a 30-year-old creator from France who lives in her van with her cat and shares videos about van life, travel, and the quiet places she visits across the country. Her content is usually peaceful, focused on simple routines, beautiful villages, forest walks, and the freedom of living on the road. But in this video, that feeling changed. For the first time, her van did not feel like a safe little home. It felt exposed. She had parked in a quiet area and decided to hike along a forest trail toward a nearby village. At first, there was nothing especially threatening about the day. It looked like the kind of slow, calm outing that fits perfectly into van life. A walk, a village, a bit of editing later, and then back to the van.
Mon pauvre estomac. Bon bah là c'est très mauvais signe. Il commence à pleuvoir, alors c'est quelques gouttes. J'espère juste qu'il va pas pleuvoir de ouf. Vous imaginez quand même, ça fait 2 heures que je vous vante les mérites de ce village. Je vous dis c'est vraiment incroyable, vous devez voir ça de vos propres yeux. Je vais vous y emmener, je vais vous montrer. Puis une fois arrivé là-bas, bon bah je vais ranger la caméra parce qu'il pleut. Google est votre ami, regardez des photos. Non c'est pas vrai, je vais vraiment essayer de faire mon possible pour eux.
Annabelle spent time walking through the village, and for a while, everything seemed normal. The place was beautiful, calm, and quiet. Nothing suggested that the day was about to become uncomfortable. But after she returned to her van and settled in with her laptop, a man approached her door.
Vous voyez, Koda, il était attaché avec sa longe, même à l'intérieur, parce qu'il y a des chevaux dehors et j'ai peur qu'à tout moment il sorte. Normalement, il attend mon autorisation, mais avec lui, on ne sait jamais. Et donc, Koda était ici et en fait, il y a le gars de la voiture sans permis qui arrive jusqu'ici. Koda, il sort. Normalement, il a pas le droit sans mon autorisation, mais bref, il sort. Il aboie pas après ce type, il fait rien de spécial. Donc, je ramène Koda et puis le gars, il me dit est-ce que vous auriez l'heure? Bon, je lui dis quand même l'heure qu'il est, donc 19h. Et en fait, je sais pas, du coup, depuis, il est dans sa voiture et puis il me regarde. Je comprends pas trop. Je sais pas s'il voulait vraiment l'heure. Est-ce que c'est une technique de drague? Est-ce que c'est pour venir regarder dans le camping-car? Du coup, moi, j'étais en train de faire ici mon petit montage. LF sans alcool 00 toujours. Et ouais, je sais pas, depuis tout à l'heure, j'ai l'impression qu'il me regarde par la fenêtre et tout. Parce qu'en plus, on me voit étant donné que je n'ai pas fermé mes rideaux. Je sais pas, c'est un peu bizarre. J'aurais bien voulu passer une deuxième nuit ici, hein, si possible, et même de retourner faire un tour du lac, parce que c'est un grand lac de 9 km qu'on a fait tout à l'heure, et j'ai bien aimé, donc j'aimerais bien refaire une fois le tour. Et lui aussi, je pense qu'il aimerait bien refaire une fois le tour. Mais le truc, c'est que je suis pas trop à l'aise de laisser le camping-car ici, parce que je me dis, ça se trouve, le gars, il est un peu louche, et je suis pas trop rassurée.
The man's vehicle apparently had no license plate, which already made the situation feel strange. He came up to her and asked for the time. On its own, that might sound harmless. But when you are alone in a van, parked near a forest, even a small interaction can feel different. You start thinking about why someone came over, why they chose your vehicle, and whether they are just being friendly or testing how alone you are. Annabelle tried to brush it off and continue her day, but the feeling did not fully leave. Later, she went out for a walk with her dog, and that was when the situation became much more unsettling. The same man appeared again, and this time, it was difficult to see it as coincidence.
Bon les amis, là je suis repartie faire le tour du lac. Le gars était plus dans sa voiture sans permis. Et en fait, je m'aperçois qu'il est en train de me suivre dans les bois, quoi. C'est ultra rassurant, donc j'ai ma petite bombe au poivre dans la main, au cas où il faut intervenir. Comme Koda n'a pas trop réagi tout à l'heure quand le gars est venu pour me demander l'heure à ma porte. Et je sais pas, attendez. Je vais essayer de me retourner discrètement. Bon, je viens de regarder et en fait, le type, je vois sa tête dépasser en mode, il est en train de regarder si... là, on va pas le voir parce qu'il est caché derrière, juste là. Et en fait, il passe sa tête en mode, est-ce qu'elle avance ou est-ce qu'elle avance pas? Je joue un truc comme ça m'est jamais arrivé jusqu'à maintenant. Je suis tombée sur des types louches, mais là on est quand même à un stade où déjà le gars, ça faisait 1 heure qu'il était sur le parquet. Voilà, là il passe sa tête en mode il regarde si j'avance ou si j'avance pas, et là il me fixe. Je le vois là.
Là, il est en train de faire le balancier avec sa tête en mode il regarde. Attendez, je vais faire marche arrière, on va voir, on va voir. Viens ici. Viens ici. Il y a un problème depuis tout à l'heure, monsieur?
Non, mais moi, je connais courir, moi. J'habite ici.
D'accord, non, mais parce que j'ai l'impression que vous me suivez un petit peu, non? C'est moi qui me trompe?
Pas du tout, madame.
Ouais.
Non, pas du tout.
Non, parce que j'ai l'impression que là, depuis tout à l'heure, je suis là et vous me regardez là.
Non, je vois les pêcheurs et tout, moi, je vais avec les pêcheurs. Non, il n'y a pas du tout de problème.
Ouais, oui.
Ne vous inquiétez pas.
D'accord, d'accord, très bien. Bonne soirée.
Si les pêcheurs, je vais me tous les soirs, c'est pareil.
D'accord, oui.
Non, mais j'ai rien avec vous.
Allez, viens.
Je m'envoie à côté de chez moi, c'est pareil.
Bon, du coup, voilà, bon, j'y suis allée au culot, tant pis, mais bon, moi, je devais savoir s'il y avait un problème ou pas parce que, enfin, c'est juste à moitié bizarre, quoi. Le gars, je sais pas si vous avez réussi à bien entendre, mais qui dit ah oui, non, je viens voir s'il n'y a pas des amis pêcheurs, tout ça. Déjà, s'il est d'ici et qu'il a des amis pêcheurs, bah, il doit déjà bien voir les voitures qui y sont. C'est-à-dire qu'il y a mon camping-car et une seule voiture qui appartient à une famille qui est venue promener son chien. Donc voilà. Et fait bizarre, c'est pourquoi est-ce que quand je m'arrête, il est là plus loin derrière les fourrés en train de s'arrêter, en train de m'épier et d'avancer un peu au même rythme que moi. Faut arrêter de me prendre un peu pour une conne. Donc il me dit non, vous avez pas à vous inquiéter, tout ça. Putain, suivi par un fou, quoi. Oh là là.
He had already approached her van, already made contact, and now he seemed to be following her while she walked away from the parking area. He even stopped to interact with her dog, which may have looked casual from the outside, but for Annabelle, it clearly felt wrong. That is what made the moment so uncomfortable. It was not one dramatic action, it was the pattern. First, he approached her, then he watched from a distance. Then he appeared again when she left the van and walked into a quieter area. Maybe he was trying to flirt. Maybe he was only socially awkward. But when someone is alone, far from help, and already uncomfortable, intentions do not matter as much as the feeling that they are no longer safe. Eventually, Annabelle confronted him, and he tried to act as if he was not following her. But by then, the damage had already been done. For someone living on the road, your van is not just a vehicle. It is your bedroom, your workspace, your shelter, and the one place that is supposed to feel like yours. And in that moment, Annabelle was reminded that even in a beautiful, quiet place, one stranger's behavior can suddenly make everything feel dangerous. And the next clip takes that fear even further. Ghost Theory are two UK adventurers and paranormal enthusiasts who travel to supposedly haunted locations to see what is really there. But their videos are not just people screaming at every sound in the dark. A lot of their content feels more grounded, exploring the location, testing the atmosphere, and letting the place speak for itself. So when they decided to camp overnight in what people call one of the UK's most haunted forests, the expectation was obvious. Strange noises, an uneasy feeling, maybe something that could be interpreted as paranormal. But what they appeared to encounter that night was not a ghost. It was something much more physical.
We've just arrived here in this beautiful forest, and obviously being the day, it's not so bad, but we're going to be exploring this forest to try and get to all the most haunted areas, to do a little bit of history in each area, and even try and do a little bit of investigating before it gets dark.
Epping Forest has stood here for thousands of years, once serving as a royal hunting ground for kings and nobles. In medieval times, this forest wasn't just a wilderness, it was dangerous. Outlaws, highwaymen, and smugglers used these woods as cover, disappearing into the trees after robberies along nearby roads.
So you can imagine this place all those years ago had been absolutely massive. There have been so many places for people to hide.
I mean, it still is currently 600 acres, but during Dick Turpin's time, this would have been more like 20,000.
That's bigger than it is now.
The forest was getting darker by the minute. As they walked deeper along the trail, the last bit of daylight was disappearing between the trees, and they were still trying to find somewhere to set up camp. That is always the moment where a forest starts to feel different. During the day, the trees feel open and harmless. But once the light drops, every direction begins to look the same, and every sound starts to feel closer than it really is.
What sounds like a bottle?
Does it sound like rustling?
I mean, here is
Yeah.
Very, very campsite-y.
It's so silent here. Do you know, they say just everything dies here. Like, the sound dies, things don't live. And it is just silent. It's been so noisy.
You're right.
That is bizarre, isn't it?
We got the campsite set up as quick as possible so that we could begin investigating straight away. This is a time lapse, but not actually that quick.
After setting up their tent, they went back into the woods to explore. At first, nothing much happened. No clear paranormal activity, no dramatic movement, nothing that would immediately explain the forest's reputation, but that almost made the atmosphere worse. They were walking through a place known for frightening stories, waiting for something to happen, and then the mood changed.
Red light was still on. Was it? Come on. Is it recording? Yeah. I'm going to turn my light on because... Wow. That is...
Back near the tent, they heard footsteps close by. Not a vague sound somewhere far away, but something close enough to make them step outside and check. They searched the area, but saw nothing. For a moment, it seemed like whatever had been there had moved away. But in the woods at night, not seeing anything does not always make you feel safer. Sometimes it makes it worse, because now you know something may be nearby. You just do not know where. They used an infrared thermometer to scan into the trees, hoping to find some kind of explanation. And that was when they appeared to spot a figure.
Is that heat signatures in the water?
I don't know. It's just the log, isn't it?
Look. He's...
Where is that?
That's just across, literally straight across where the lights were coming from.
Good. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. That's enough for me tonight.
Yeah,
That is absolutely more than enough for me tonight.
that's someone. That's someone there.
Hello?
A man seemed to be standing behind a tree, watching them from a distance. And suddenly, the situation felt much more serious. Because if this was a person, Then the footsteps around their tent were no longer just a strange sound in the dark. It meant someone may have been moving close to them while they were vulnerable, hidden by the trees, waiting just outside the light. That is what made the moment so unsettling. A haunted forest is scary as an idea, but a stranger watching you from the darkness is a completely different kind of fear. You can laugh off a noise. You can question a shadow. But a person hiding behind a tree in the middle of the night raises questions that are much harder to ignore. Why was he there? How long had he been watching? And did he follow them after they noticed him? Ghost Theory did not stay to find out. They quickly packed up their gear and left the area, which was probably the smartest decision they could have made. Because once the fear changes from paranormal to human, the risk becomes much more real. Legends about haunted forests usually talk about people getting lost, hearing voices, or seeing things they cannot explain. But sometimes the most dangerous thing in the woods is not a ghost story at all. It is another person standing just beyond the light, watching you before you even know they are there. But the next couple learned that a quiet park-up does not always mean a safe one. Travel Tales is the YouTube channel of Chris and Charlene, a couple from Malta who had spent years traveling full-time across Europe in their motorhome with their dog, Holly. Like many van lifers, they were used to finding quiet park-ups, trusting their instincts, and settling into unfamiliar places for the night. Most of the time, that freedom is what makes the lifestyle beautiful. But every now and then, one night is enough to remind you how exposed you really are.
So last week we couldn't find a park up with a fire pit. They were all out of order. Maybe they don't maintain them in winter. But I found one and we're going there right now. It looks really beautiful because it's in the forest. So I'm so looking forward to get there and light up some fire.
They had found a hillside fire pit spot that looked peaceful when they arrived. Nothing about it seemed dangerous. No strange cars. No obvious people nearby. No reason to believe sleeping there would become a problem. They settled in, got comfortable, and eventually went to bed, expecting nothing more than a quiet night in the middle of nowhere. But while they were asleep, Holly noticed something first. Then the banging started. Hard knocks hit the bonnet and the sides of the motorhome, loud enough to rip Chris and Charlene out of sleep. And that is one of the most frightening ways to wake up in a van. Not knowing where you are for a second, not knowing who is outside, and not knowing if the people banging are drunk, joking, angry, or trying to get in.
We're back on the road because we couldn't sleep where we were. Basically, there were a lot of people outside our van, and we didn't feel safe there, so we had to leave. We were asleep and we heard a lot of noise coming from outside. We think that there were people having a laugh, you know, and a chat, but it turned out to be a nightmare for us. We're very tired right now. What the hell are those?
I don't know where I'm going, I don't know, it's not global.
Sorry, but we're in a complete shock right now.
In that first rush of adrenaline, their instinct was to confront it. But stepping outside in the dark without knowing how many people were there or what they wanted could have made everything worse. So they made the smarter decision. They started the motorhome and drove away, watching the mirrors the entire time, trying to put distance between themselves and whatever had just happened.
More shocked than anything, really. Just basically these guys, I thought they were just having fun because I could hear like music in a car, but there were some like a few meters away at least, and then I heard like voices outside the van, so they came up to the van and started hitting. I'm sure I heard one like on the bonnet.
Yes, and me and Holly were...
Yeah, Holly started barking.
Yeah, we were in a complete shock. Even now, we're still a bit... We've been driving for like 15 minutes. We're so scared that they were going to follow us. That's what I thought, to be honest.
No, I don't think so. They went back in the car. First they were banging on the van at the front, and that's what kind of woke me up, and then I think there were more than one. Some were banging on the side as well.
Yeah, but the ones on the side
were really loud.
Yeah.
That me and Holly jumped.
Well, at first I thought it was someone like trying to get into the van, but it's just kids, I think, because I think when we turned on the lights, they just ran into the car again. I don't know, but we're not going back there, that's for sure.
In the morning, they sat together and tried to make sense of it. The spot had looked completely normal when they pulled in. A quiet hillside park-up. A place that seemed harmless enough to sleep for the night. And that was exactly what unsettled them most. There had been no warning, no strange feeling before bed. Nothing that told them they should leave before the night turned.
Hey, good morning. So we're at a new parking spot today. I'm making a cup of tea. And we're trying to understand what really happened last night and accept it, basically. Here it was quiet, though, when we came. It's a normal park up, and this morning we woke up a bit earlier than usual, I think because we were a bit stressed as well. But we're safe and we're okay now. So sometimes you hear things on the internet that some people are being robbed or something happened with their van, and it's very frustrating because when there are people outside your van, you know, you get that feeling of being scared. You don't know who they are, you don't know what they're doing, you don't know in what state they are in. So we were a bit worried yesterday. That's why we left that parking space.
Yeah, I think we did the good thing. We just left right away. Like at first I was gonna try and go outside and see, like that's the first instinct. Like when you hear someone like hitting your van and like it's on purpose, you want to go out and like,
yeah,
I don't know do what really, because there were a few of them. So I think we did the right thing. We just left. As soon as they started like banging on the van, we definitely had to leave. And to be honest, like this is kind of a good reminder for us. Luckily there's no real damage. Like we managed to woke up in a bit of a shock, but we managed to get out there okay. I just checked the van, there's no like damage at all. So again, I guess they were just like banging on it to wake us up or to show off. But yeah, it's kind of a wake-up call, because even like in Germany, sometimes like one of the days I forgot to lock the front door just because like we felt so safe. So I think this is kind of a reminder that we kind of have to take extra precaution in like when we're in places that we're not.
Looking back, maybe it had not been as dangerous as it felt in the moment. Maybe it was someone messing around. Maybe it was locals trying to scare them away. But when you are woken up in the dark by people banging on your home, you do not have the luxury of assuming the best. You do not know their intentions. You do not know if they will stop. And you do not know what happens if you open the door. That shock stays with you. Because after a night like that, the van no longer feels completely separate from the outside world. It feels thin, vulnerable, like the only thing between you and whoever is out there is a door, a lock, and the hope that driving away is still an option. But what comes next is the kind of moment every adventurer hopes they never experience. Popular for his fishing videos on YouTube, Tate is used to filming peaceful moments on the water, quiet lakes, wooded shorelines, and the kind of outdoor content where the biggest concern is usually whether the fish are biting. But during one trip with his friend Zach, while filming behind-the-scenes content for his second channel, that calm suddenly disappeared. What began as another ordinary day on the lake placed them dangerously close to something far more serious than either of them realized.
Beautiful day out here on the lake. It's actually, like I said earlier in the day, it's pretty cool out here.
Fall feel to it.
Does have a fall feel. It's feeling pretty good out here. We got a giant bait out here as well. Of course, we got the camera equipment. That's what we're running. And then we finally got this baby going after Zach cleared out the dead shiners in there that's been there for about 2 weeks.
They had just reached a secluded fishing spot, surrounded by dense woods and far away from any obvious help, when Tate's phone rang. At first, it seemed like an interruption, but within seconds, the call changed the entire mood of the day. This was no longer just a fishing trip. Something dangerous was happening nearby, and they were about to realize they were much closer to it than anyone would ever want to be.
Get out of my way, Dad. You sit down. Oh yeah. All right, toss them in the box.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, are you good? Are y'all good? Do y'all know what's going on? I heard there was a shooter over there. Where at? Yeah, y'all need to not be there. Seen cops go by. The cops went by us on the wrong side of the road. Going back behind us.
Really? You hear that, James?
Gunfire, brother. We actually heard gunshots. Did we not, Zach?
The realization hit hard. They were less than a mile from an active shooter situation. And worse, their boat was not moving away from the danger. It was headed toward it. At that moment, the lake must have felt completely different. The trees that had made the spot feel peaceful now became the same woods a gunman could be moving through. The silence no longer felt relaxing. It felt like something was hiding inside it.
We're literally going to be driving right by where the active shooter is. Like, actually. We've heard gunshots, and we're going to just try to be as fast as possible. And I am not even trying to build this up. It's actually true. Just for reference, right here's the map of where we are right now. The gunshots literally could have been from an active shooter. No cap, not even kidding. It's really dangerous that we're even out here right now. So we actually had set out jugs the day prior, and just like every time we go out to the lake, we wait till the end to check our jugs because it gives us the most time to catch a fish. Because we make catfish jugging videos. And literally half of our jugs were less than a mile from where this occurrence happened. We knew it probably wasn't the safest thing to do, but we wanted to get any catches we could. It's also against the law not to check your jugs within 24 hours.
As they got closer, the risk became impossible to ignore. There were no crowds around them, no other boats nearby, and no clear way to know exactly where the shooter was. Out on the water, they were exposed, with the forest closing in around the shoreline. Whatever fish they had come for, whatever footage they had hoped to capture, none of it mattered anymore. Staying there could mean drifting straight into the path of someone armed and unpredictable.
Huh?
Let's go.
You ready to go?
No, stay for
We got to check jugs, and we're getting out of here immediately. Literally right there, I-75. I'm getting out of here. I've never been in this situation before, but by golly, there is not a soul up there. You know it? Not a flipping soul, and I don't blame them, Daddy. The guy's supposedly in the woods right now. If you can see, there's woods everywhere. So I'm not just trying to build this up. It's pretty sketchy. Pretty sketchy. Right there it goes. Hold the wheel, man. You can see right there, guys. This is one of the sketchiest situations I've ever been in on the water. I feel like we're safe right here, right? No, that's 75 right there also. That's 75 right there too, so he could be in those woods as well. We heard gunshots. Hopefully I got that on GoPro. It's crazy this is happening. My wife just texted me and said I probably should stay on the water, actually. 7 people dead.
9 injured, 7 deceased.
7 dead, 9 injured. That's absolutely insane. The wild thing is you hear about like these shootings far off, right? Like, and that's pretty crazy. And then it literally happens a mile from you, probably within a mile. Literally, we heard the gunshots. Did we not?
Yeah.
We heard gunshots. You do hear gunshots out here all the time. Exit 41, that's London. Why?
Between 49 and 41 is where he's at.
So he's literally coming this way.
He's at Wildcat is where he's at.
Is he?
That's what it says.
Brother, that's it.
That's it.
That's it right there.
John said that the water plant is near where you are.
Yeah.
And the scanner people said that that's where he is.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally where we were at just a minute ago.
Well, the police scanner says that that's where he is.
All right, well, I'm coming
are
home.
You sure you should come off the water?
No, I'm coming. It's cold out here.
With almost no time to think, Tate and Zach made the decision to leave their equipment behind and get out. That choice may have saved them, because in situations like this, hesitation can be dangerous. Going back for a camera, a fishing rod, or gear on the bank might feel reasonable in the moment, but when an active shooter is believed to be somewhere nearby, every extra second spent in the area becomes a risk.
What's going on with it now?
I can't get anything real recent on it. Now we hear there's more than one shooter and there's like 14 people shot at.
There's more than one?
Well, that's what we heard, but hearsay.
No,
There's not any verification on that. I can't find any verification on that.
Dang. He said that he has heard there's 2 active shooters now. 14 dead. Traffic right now is absolutely crazy. So many people are heading away from London right now, which is where the active shooter is kind of supposedly at right now. And I'm having to go toward it because, well, that's where I live. Your boy's always strapped, okay? Always strapped. Old Second Amendment. It's for times like these. That right there is the current situation. Cops everywhere. Cops everywhere up here right now at the intersection.
The man, later identified as Joseph Couch, was believed to be moving through the same wooded area near the shooting scene. Investigators later said Couch had sent messages before the attack, indicating he planned to hurt people and then take his own life. Authorities accused him of opening fire near Interstate 75, hitting multiple vehicles and injuring 5 people, before disappearing into the rugged forest and triggering a manhunt that put the entire area on edge. What Tate did not fully understand in that moment was how close they may have been to becoming part of the story. If they had kept fishing, if they had gone back for their equipment, or if their boat had carried them a little farther toward the wrong stretch of shoreline, they could have ended up directly in the danger zone. And that is what makes the footage so unsettling. Nothing about the lake looked threatening at first, but just beyond the calm water, a manhunt was unfolding in the woods. Couch's remains were eventually found in the same general search area by Fred and Sheila McCoy, a retired couple and YouTubers who had joined the search after the reward was announced. For the community, it brought an end to days of fear. But for Tate, the close call left a mark. A normal fishing trip had turned into a reminder that danger does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it is already nearby, hidden behind the trees, while you are still thinking you are just having a quiet day on the water. And that takes us to the channel Dub Ventures. On the channel, Tom and Brooke travel the UK and Europe, sharing the freedom, beauty, and reality of life on the road. For 5 years, they had traveled without experiencing anything truly serious. Bad weather, awkward park-ups, small problems, those were normal. But on the Northeast 250 route in Scotland, one night became so frightening that they almost edited around it and said nothing. Eventually, they decided the truth mattered more.
Look at the fantastic view that we've woke up to. Now we're on the Northeast 250 route in Scotland and we've only been doing it for 3 days, and how are you enjoying it?
Love it.
It's amazing.
Definitely going to have to do it again.
Now we stayed here last night and we've decided we're going to stay another night here, and we're going to go into town, aren't we? We feel that the right thing to do is be honest with you guys. Whilst we're asleep, we actually got attacked while we was in the van.
It was around 2 o'clock in the morning. Tom and Brooke were deep asleep when Brooke suddenly started screaming. Tom woke up and immediately tried to understand what was happening in the dark. Outside the van, a group of people were making noise and acting aggressively. They knew someone was inside, and according to Tom, they were trying to get into the van while shouting for them to come out. That is the kind of moment every van lifer fears. You are half asleep, confused, trapped in a small space, and suddenly forced to decide whether to stay locked inside or confront whatever is happening outside. Tom grabbed something from inside the van, opened the door, and stepped out alone. Whatever happened in those next few seconds was enough to make the group turn and run.
2 o'clock in the morning, you know, someone was making some noise and, you know, we moved on. Now, we've not really strictly told you the truth here. And me and Brooke have been talking, you know, we've decided, because like I said, we're proud of our channel and we're never fake, you know, we always want to show you and tell you as it is. We've decided that we're going to tell you the truth. Now the truth is, 2 o'clock in the morning, whilst we're asleep, we actually got attacked while we was in the van. Now, I'm normally sort of like, when I'm asleep, you know, any little noise I wake up, but...
And I'm dead to the world. But it was the opposite way around this time.
Yeah, I was like in a deep sleep, and then the next thing I heard Brooke screaming, and then as I woke up, I could hear... Now, I'm not going to go into details, but one thing that I will say is, these people were trying to get in the van. They knew there was someone in the van, and they was being very aggressive, and the things that they were saying for us to get out the van. Like I said, I'm not going to go into details. Now, my immediate reaction was to jump up, but as I did that, I went to like grab like what was near me and everything, and I broke the TV whilst I was doing that. Now, I jumped up, and very quickly I was aware of what was happening. Now, I'm not going to go into, like I said, too many details, but one thing I will say is I'm actually professionally trained in conflict management, and I got something from the van, I opened the door, I got out, and like very quickly this group of people realised that it was a mistake to continue what they was doing, and they ran off basically. Like I said, there's a bit more to it, but we're not going to go into details.
A woman in a nearby camper van had heard everything and came out shaken. She had been close enough to understand that this was not just a bit of noise in the night. Police were called, not because Tom and Brooke expected officers to instantly find the people responsible, but because something that serious had to be reported. They also had to make a decision: stay where they were, go home, or move on. Going home would have been understandable. After something like that, it is hard to feel safe again. But Brooke did not want the people who had scared them to be the reason their trip ended. So they drove further up the road and found another place to park. Not because everything suddenly felt fine, but because staying in that same spot was no longer possible.
So, so we did sort of like report it.
Tom said there's 3 choices. 1, we go home, 2, we stay where we are, or 3, we move on. Now, I'm pretty sure I shocked Tom because...
I thought Brooke was going to say, I want to go home. It's simple as that.
But I thought just because some idiots have tried to ruin our holiday and tried to get into the van is not making me want to go home. I want to continue my holiday.
So we made the decision just to move on, and we
because
drove.
I didn't feel comfortable staying in that spot anymore.
Yeah, we drove a bit further on, and we parked in a lay-by. 5 years of van life, we have never experienced anything like this.
No, and the people we've met, we've never heard of anybody.
We've spoke to some people about this, and like we don't know anybody, and we know a lot of people in the van life community. And you know what? Nobody has like ever told us that they've had an experience like this.
Luckily, the situation did not escalate any further. No one was hurt, and they were able to continue the trip. But an encounter like that is not something you just forget the next morning. It changes the way you hear noises at night. It changes how you choose park-ups. It makes you more aware of how isolated you can be when your home is parked at the side of a road, far from help, with strangers outside who know you are inside. And that is what made this experience so disturbing. Tom and Brooke had spent 5 years on the road without anything like this happening. They knew the van life community. They knew people who had traveled for years. And still, this was the kind of night almost no one expects until it happens to them. A reminder that most nights on the road are peaceful, but when something goes wrong, it can feel like the walls around you are suddenly far too thin. That's all for today, folks. If you'd like to see more of this creepy content, click on the video on screen.